Hercules! Hercules!
This whole time I was a girl?
Oh no.
I don't know about my sexuality anymore. Dogs.
Dogs. Those dogs.
Dogs, yeah, they are.
Welcome to the Deadzone podcast. Deadzone is the sci-fi tabletop miniature skirmish game from Mantic Games. And now, here are your hosts Rob Harper and Jack Fight. I am your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen.
Welcome to the 44th episode of Deadzone the podcast for late October 2015. In this episode, we wrap up the Warpath Kickstarter. As always, you can go to deadzonegame.podbean.com to see all the pictures, or you can go to the YouTube on youtube.com/c/Deadzone the podcast for the video version of this show. And now on to the episode.
And welcome to the Deadzone podcast. My name is Jack.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 44. Can you believe 44?
I can't.
I can't either. It's been many years, and unfortunately this is the last episode of the Deadzone podcast due to, what?
No.
Oh, what?
We already did that joke when you said you were quitting, or I was kicking you off.
Oh.
We're not stopping.
No, not yet. Not until we get copy those beta rules in our hands.
Yes, yeah, that's incentive for them. We'll stop if you send us beta rules.
I'm just saying, what, do you have to beg to get...
Do we have to come there? We'll come get you.
Like, come on. I think we asked nicely. Now, why don't you just...
I think Ronnie hates us.
Community Pat, Ronnie, we shook hands, we talked. Throw us a bone.
Didn't you see afterwards where he wiped his hand?
Yeah. Looked, well,
those guys.
When you had your picture taken with him, he did ask you to do the hover hand, where you had to hold your hand.
I didn't want to touch him. Yeah.
Up above. He's just like...
He's like, don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
Don't look at me. Stop looking. Don't make eye contact.
His security was giving you the eyeball.
Yeah, he did have 2 armed guards beside him at all times.
I thought the black suits, nice touch, but they were actually balaclavaed and had flak jackets on as well.
Not to mention the MP5s they were carrying.
A little overboard. I don't know if Mantic Knight was heavily guarded. I don't know.
Well, once he left though, there was like all of a sudden there were no guards. It was weird.
Funny stuff. Anyways, yeah, just throw us a copy of the beta rules. We want to play. We want to be part of the in crowd.
We'll make up more things about you, Ronnie.
we want to be part of the. I think we've been nice about it so far.
Don't make us angry. You wouldn't like us when we're angry. Maybe you would.
Yeah,
we're Canadian. This is about as angry as we get.
We're kind of awesome when we're angry too. So
angry.
You have been listening to the Deadzone podcast with your hosts Jack Fike and Rob Harper. The Deadzone podcast is dedicated to Deadzone, the tabletop miniature game by Mantic Games. Visit them at manticgames.com.
Hi, this is Pat, North American Community Manager for Mantic Games, and you are listening to Deadzone the podcast.
Anyways, this is episode 44. That was a long wrap-up to the beginning of this. This whole episode's going to be the wrap-up of the Warpath Kickstarter.
The Warpath Kickstarter, which you did jump in with 2 feet.
Yeah,
so, why don't you tell us what's doing on the old Kickstarter? Are we starting with all the add-ons and working our way up, or are you just going to say, hey, it's over, I bought this?
The end. End of episode.
Drop the mic and walk out.
We'll go through it all. We'll go through what they were offering, and in the end, we'll say what we're actually getting.
Okay, well, that'd actually make some kind of a show, then, if you did it that way.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Like a professional.
That's why you write things down. So the Kickstarter ended up at $484,917.
Which you had...
$4,800.
You had guesstimated. You had your amazing Kreskin hat on. And
I guess $500,000. It was close.
You said $500,000. So that is pretty darn close.
And it had 3,355 backers, which is the 3rd best backer number behind Deadzone and Dungeon Saga. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not bad.
And it's... amazingly, this Kickstarter seems to have a lot of traction. A lot of people are talking about it. I was like, I thought I thought that Kings of War would be bigger, which it isn't. Maybe now, I think the Kickstarter happened before the age of Sigmar, so a lot of those people would have gotten on the Kickstarter.
A little ahead of the curve.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Mantic put out another Kings of War Kickstarter next year just for more armies, just because they'll be like, oh, okay.
To ride the wave.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if they announced their next Kickstarter rather than something else, or even a mini Kickstarter, because that's what Mantic does now.
Yeah.
Their next mini Kickstarter would be right back to the Kings of War.
Just to get all those Warhammer people.
And
this, although, seems to be getting a lot of the 40k people, so... So yeah, there's a bunch of different pledge levels, as they always do. They have early birds and stuff like that. And with the pledge level, you get the books. There's 3 different books: the Warpath book, the Firefight book, and a fluff campaign book. And you get dice, and you get all the accoutrements, as they say. But they're also promoting a 2-player set called Operation Heracles, or no, it is Heracles because there's an A in it, right? How do you spell Hercules? Is it spelled differently, or are they spelled the same?
Hercules!
Anyways, it's Operation Heracles, because that's how you're supposed to say it. And it was a $75 add-on, and it was, that one was, it's Enforcers versus Forge Fathers, which is an interesting mix.
It is. I would say that if you were going to choose 2 forces, we've already discussed why they did it in a previous podcast. Why they chose those 2 is because they have the hard plastic molds for both of those, so it made sense for them. But on a story level, and as 2 good, well fleshed out armies, they already did the Plague in the starter set. The dwarves are a good go-to for just thematically.
And we know Ronnie loves dwarves.
So aside from Ronnie's dwarf love and them already having the hard plastic models available, why not? That's a good if you wanted to do 2-person, two buddies get in, 1 army each.
And this Operation Heracles is a bit smaller armies than the battle groups that we'll talk about later. And the Enforcers have 15 regular Enforcers, 5 Pathfinders, 5 Peacekeepers, 2 jet bikes, a dog drone, and their leader, which is Lieutenant Roca, we'll talk about later. And the Forge Fathers have 20 Steel Warriors.
How is that lieutenant spelled?
What do you mean? Oh, it's just LT, so we don't know.
Could be lieutenant. They are British.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I wonder if... there's no way to know what the Enforcers or the corporation, what nationality they are, so...
Okay, well, let us know if you're from Mantic, and...
Do they still short form LT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to actually look at the spelling.
I'll look later. We'll see later if they actually spell it out, or if they always just put LT. And so anyways, back to this. The Forge Fathers is 20 Steel Warriors, 5 Forge Guard, 1 Huskarl, which is the leader, 1 Iron Ancestor, which is cool, because Iron Ancestors are cool. The Jotun Heavy Weapon, which used to be part of the old Warpath, and we've gotten as part of Crazy Boxes, so it's nice to be able to use them. And there's something called a Hailstorm Cannon, and their leader is a guy named Ingolf Kresterson, yes.
Oh, very Nordic.
And he comes with a dog. Yes, very Nordic. The dwarves are Nordic. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I assumed as underground dwellers they wouldn't know what a hailstorm was. So why would they name a weapon after something they didn't know?
I don't think they are underground dwellers.
But if they are just a Nordic-based
they're miners,
Northerners,
but miners live above ground.
That's... I was in a different mindset, but now hearing some of the backstory, the fluff, I say, big deal!
You and your fluff. So then there's each army had a battle, what do they call them? Battle group? Battle group, thank you. And each battle group was, once again, $75 if you want to buy them separately. And the Enforcers is a good one, and as many Enforcers I already have, we're getting more Enforcers. So we went out with the one I'll get into what I actually purchased, which is to be the Ultimate Tyrant, it's called. And with it you get 6 battle groups.
And you started very...
I started conservative, but they didn't offer that at the beginning.
That's the thing. For the vast majority of the Kickstarter, you had plunked down a pretty reasonable chunk of change and said, "This is what I'm getting," and it was going to be there was 2 tiers, and one was kind of the basic tier, and then you went with the advanced.
Yeah,
one.
You get 2 battle groups or something at the time.
And for the vast majority of the time, I thought, okay, that's very reasonable.
But then
I think it was the second last day.
So that was in the last couple weeks they offered the Ultimate Tyrant. Or the last week, maybe.
But it was in the last couple days, And that's when you let me in on the...
Well, that's just when I told you.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I got Ultimate Tyrant, which gets you 6 battle groups, 2 free vehicles, and all the other free stuff. So one of them is definitely Enforcers, just because I love Enforcers, but mostly because 5 Peacekeepers, love Peacekeepers, 15 more Enforcers, that's a lot of Enforcers, 5 heavy support ones, which are more missile launcher guys, which are going to be much more important in this game. 10 more Pathfinders, which we're getting tons of Pathfinders in Infestation. 2 more dog drones, 4 more jet bikes, and I'm already getting 10, I think, from Infestation. So
Yeah.
another Strider, which is how I can use Striders. Lieutenant Roca again, and or Lieutenant Roca. And something called an Ajax Siege Strider, a new type of Strider. And as you can see, the Ajax Siege Strider has like a chainsaw and like a spear or something.
I'm guessing that's like a
Batting
breaching
ram.
tool.
Yeah, batting ram.
Something to and you know what? It looks close enough to the old Strider that it's very much like Strider-y, and other than remolding one arm with one weapon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's cool.
It
is definitely it's a, what do they call it, add-on kit to the other Striders. When you buy Striders, I think they're going to, from now on, they're going to come with this, or you can buy them separately maybe.
that one arm
Extra
and,
bits, yeah.
Me personally, I like that they went with what they have in the molds already. Because Striders, I like the model, I like everything. For Deadzone itself, not even talking Warpath, the Strider is a fun, interesting model, and they didn't shy away from it. They said, "Oh, you want some Striders? Here's some Striders." The jet bikes, obviously, the Pathfinders in Deadzone. I made up a Enforcer list that I played, and it had 5 Pathfinders
Yeah, you
in
liked
it.
Pathfinders.
I liked the Pathfinders. Well, now there's going to be plenty of Pathfinders floating around.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they are cool looking. I like how they're a little bit more like Army Ranger kind of, where they're
Unarmored. They're
not
not
less
the full
armored, yeah.
the full outside exoskeleton of metal, but they're
specialists.
yeah.
And the next battle group for the Enforcers, it counts as another battle group, is the Interceptors. And with this battle group, you get 3 Interceptors. And you can, out of those 3 Interceptors, you can make either a Persecutor Bomber, the regular Accuser Interceptor, or you can make something called an Arbiter Interceptor, which is more heavy weapons, which is kind of cool. And those heavy weapons are only available in this one. So it's
Kickstarter exclusive.
It's exclusive to this battle group. It never said Kickstarter exclusive, so I assume later they'll be available.
Okay.
But it's just extra weapons, really. So it's we're gonna get 3 Interceptors.
Well, get those magnets out, because you certainly want to
be able to magnetize and switch between bombers or shooters or transport or whatever. Yep, for sure, they're cool looking. And you can see the in red there is the extra weapons there,
just hanging off the wings.
Mm-hmm. And they're cool. And then once again, part of that is that Enforcer Lieutenant Roca, or Lieutenant, it just says LT, so we don't know if it's Lieutenant.
We don't know.
She is a Kickstarter exclusive, so she is an exclusive to Kickstarter. She won't be available later.
Just don't call them LT.
It's a girl, I believe.
They hate that.
I believe she's a girl. I think. Another picture I saw, she looked more feminine, so I think she is a...
So are we talking like a Metroid thing where you're not supposed to know, and then all of a sudden pulls off the helmet and this blonde, flowing mane of hair comes out and her ruby red lips, and it's like, oh...
This whole time I was a girl?
Oh, no.
I don't know about my sexuality anymore.
I wasn't going to go that far, but...
This is childhood right there. I never played Metroid as a kid.
Neither did I.
No. Who did play Metroid as a kid? It's weird.
Well, someone had to have.
Yeah. We were both at the right age. We never played Metroid. We were more RPG kind of play, I think.
We could do a favorite 5.
Listen to Vinland Old Time Radio. We'll go to favorite 5 old school video games one time.
Video games of all time. Yeah.
It's a great show. Great show. Next battle group is the Forge Fathers. And this gives you just more Forge Fathers. You get tons of Steel Warriors. It's pretty much the same as you get before, but you get 2 Iron Ancestors, and you get something called the Hammer Fist Drop Team. They got big jetpacks on their backs, so I think they're like parachutists, paratroopers. Yes. Yeah. And you get brokers with this one, or Brockers. Brockers, is that how you...
Brockers.
You get some Brockers with this one too. And we're definitely getting that because we never got Forge Fathers with Deadzone. At the time, I wasn't big on the dwarves, but I've really warmed up to them after I got the hard plastic. Was it Forge Guard? I believe it's Forge Guard. They were very cool.
The difference being now, when we got into the original Deadzone that Kickstarter, we knew we were going to be doing a podcast. We knew we were going to be getting into it. You had done your purchasing. If you were to take a time machine, if you were getting into a blue police box and went back in time and said, okay,
do I get a really hot companion?
Yes, it would be kind of like Rose and Clara mated. They then spawned someone who wore, say, like
What about Amy?
Amy Pond.
Yeah.
Okay, Amy and Clara.
Ooh,
they mated.
That's getting good. Never mind. Let's go back to the.
My point being, you would purchase more. You would purchase more aggressively.
Yes, definitely go back to the original.
We would be getting the.
Well, how much did I end up purchasing later, anyways, through the secondary things? And
yes, but I think
there's things we missed. We're like, oh, we should have gotten that.
Thinking back and being able to act back then, you would have purchased more aggressively. Clearly, we've already discussed you didn't make that mistake this time.
No, this time I went all in. And the next thing is the Forge Father tanks, which once again I think we're going to get in these things because they're cool. And the thing, after a while, we have to make some decisions. You can't have everything. Or
apparently you can. I didn't purchase a thing.
But these tanks, you can either make them as battle tanks, APCs, or urban assault vehicles, which just have different tops. Either the APC has no turret, the battle tank has a big one, and the assault turret is kind of more like the other vehicle, the Jotun, with the 4 barrels. So it's kind of cool. And the tanks look awesome. And tanks are awesome. What do you have to say about tanks?
We're right in your wheelhouse. The vehicles are available, and you certainly you were asking for them. You didn't get. I didn't
get an Enforcer tank.
You didn't get an Enforcer or APC that you wanted, but I think you got enough candy here to get your sweet tooth, give it a little tickle.
And once again, the leader of the Forge Fathers is called Forge Lord Ingolf Kreturson, and his dog named Pad. But look how Norse those guys are.
He does. He looks like
he's awesome.
He looks like Odin. Just someone stepped on Odin and shrunk him down. His dog looks a little surly. I'm gonna say that his warhound looks like it's probably not in the best of mood. But
dogs, yikes,
dogs, those dogs,
dogs. Yeah, they are.
What is this? A Heathcliff cartoon? Dogs.
Yeah.
That's the punchline. Him just standing there. Dogs.
Also, the Forge Fathers is the Forge Father Holter half-track. And it looks kind of like something that either World War I or German World War II.
It's definitely... They've got a very tricycle, very three-wheeled thing going on.
Yeah, because they have the Marauder three-wheels, the Raptors.
No, but I'm talking the dwarves themselves. I like the fact that all the dwarven stuff has that aesthetic. It's got a very plate mail-y, but it matches their armor. Some of the stuff has almost like you could look and see like a face in it. Like if you look at a cloud and go, oh, there's Bugs Bunny. Or, hey, there's Amy Pond and Clara mating. You know how you can just do that while looking at clouds? Maybe it's just that you're looking at the armor, but sometimes it has like the appearance of a beard or a helmet in the armor.
Yeah, it's definitely implied. Yeah,
it's a very unified aesthetic, and I kind of like it. Even if I didn't like the dwarves, I kind of like the look of the equipment they have.
Yeah, it's very cool. We'll take a quick ad here. We'll get back with some more of the battle groups. And we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at More Radio.
It's time to enter the Strike Zone.
The Strike Zone podcast is the ultimate guide to the miniature sports game, Dreadball. From the ringside seats of an underground Dreadball Extreme match to the glitz and glamour of Dreadball Classic, the Strike Zone strives to bring you the latest and greatest Dreadball has to offer. I am your host, Adam, aka Mr. Voxman, and you can find out more at warmoreradio.com.
Welcome back to the Deadzone podcast.
And we're back.
And we're back.
Next up is the Veermyn, the Ratmen. Veermyn, I think we're going to go a little lighter on because we are getting a ton with Infestation.
And I'll tell you right now, the Veermyn are... I had no interest before, and my interest has climbed and climbed and climbed.
The more we see them?
I don't necessarily... They're very clothed up. I would have preferred them being more naked.
Actual rats.
Not just less like because they've got a lot of pouches, a lot of baubles and stuff. I'd like them a little more naked, but just me. If I was designing it, they would have a lot less stuff. But by golly, they are a fine looking army, and I would love to just feel this. Even just painting them looks fun.
Yep, and with this you get 40 Night Crawlers, 6 Shredders, which are the big guys, 1 Night Terror, which is the even bigger guy, a Weapon Platform, a Progenitor, 5 Creepers, and their character, which his name is Hacker Halftail.
And the creepers are now they've only in the pictures they've only got like the they don't have the painted.
It's just the concept.
But they look interesting, like rat ninjas.
Rat ninjas. I think all rat men are pretty much ninjas. They're all about being in the shadows and popping out. Except for the huge guys, I guess.
Popping and locking.
They're all breakdancers. And Veermyn also have their tunnelers, which are very cool, and they have different fronts on them. And you also get an extra compartment to make them extra long.
So you can either make 2 of the small tunnelers, or you can make 1 big tunneler.
Well, actually, no. In this one, it comes with 3 tunnelers plus an extra compartment. So you can make 2 of those plus the long one.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. And one can have a gun on the front or the tunneler on the front. And then Hacker Halftail is a Veermyn Creeper.
But if you're going to go with a tunneler, just put those big drills on there.
Yeah, they're cool.
Come on. That's like the bread and butter. That's.
And I'm sure they're going to have some rules about popping up randomly on the board. And
popping and locking.
And Hacker Halftail, he's one of your ninja creepers.
I like the looks of them.
He's the leader of them. He does have a lot of pouches. Because I think they're scavengers, so you're getting a lot of pouches.
You think they need a lot of pockets for
stealing stuff?
For the little trinkets and baubles?
And the next thing that really interesting is the Veermyn Tangle with Malgnus Bodyguard. The Tangle is a bunch of rats that their tails are all fused together, and then they're psychic. They share like a hive mind. And then they have a bodyguard protecting, because they're kind of a leader. They predict kind of what's happening on the battlefield.
So psychic rats.
Psychic little rats. And it's a very cool picture.
And I think I told you, and I think what they have there on the website, and at the time when I looked and when I discussed this with you, it had said this is a concept. It's not what the original is going to look like. But it's close. This is what we're gunning for. And I said I would purchase that just to paint it.
Yeah, it's super cool.
If I were to say, I just want to paint a nice looking miniature and maybe use it for any number of games that you could possibly put that in. It's
because a group of rats with their tails fused together is in every game.
but look at it.
It is a cool looking miniature.
It's really interesting.
Well,
really
if it turns out the way it's pictures,
it'll be close.
And then the last thing for the Veermyn is the tunnel runner. And tunnel runners are, as Jack described them, killer hamster balls.
It's a hamster wheel but also like one of those Habitat balls where you could like let your pet run around the house.
Because I think some of them, one of the concepts showed like sides on it too.
It's
it's got a big blade on the front.
I
really cheap. You can either get 1 for $15 or 3 for $30.
Well, get the 3.
But they're cool.
Just if you had to give them a cycle type machine.
Yeah,
giving them a hamster wheel was just cheeky genius.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, it just shows that they have a little bit of humor going on.
Just a sliver.
And next group is the Plague. The Plague, they're getting their new 3rd gens, hard plastic 3rd gens. So they're getting 40 in this battle group and 20 zombies. That's a lot. I don't know if we need that many more Plague. That's a lot of Plague.
Yeah, no, I don't.
6 more 2nd gens, 1 Plague Teraton, 1 1st gen, 8 Plague Mortars, and 8 Plague Dogs.
8 Plague Mortars.
Just the mortars, yeah. So you can just throw them next to them.
Yeah.
And 8 more Plague Dogs, though. Too bad they should sell Plague Dogs in like groups of 10.
See, of all that stuff there, and I'm not complaining, if you're just getting into the game and you want to play Plague, that will take care of you for Deadzone, that'll take care of you for Warpath, that'll take care of you for anything you need. For someone who's played, who got in early or has already a Plague army, there's really nothing there for someone who's already established. Now, the new 3, the Type 3s, I like the sculpt. They're
definitely a much improvement.
They're far superior to the original batch, but they're
beefier and
they look better. It's a much better sculpt, but really there wasn't much there for me.
No. Well, it's good to get. We'll probably get some extra Plague 3s. I think they sell them in sets of 10.
The zombies are nice. We already have 30 of those or 40 of those.
At least, yeah.
We would throw, if anything, zombies, if there had been dogs, and, some of the other stuff that Plague has.
Yeah.
But really...
It's a lot more extra. We don't need that many more extra Plague. Enforcers probably didn't need that much extra Enforcers either,
but the Enforcers...
There's still time to choose. We could always decide later.
That's true. And I might just pony up some money and go, hey, buddy, you might
add on, yeah.
Pitching some stuff in for me, because hopefully a little extra coin will be available when they start with the what's it called, when the second survey
or the first survey. We haven't even got a survey yet.
Well, when you get the first survey,
we'll see how it goes. Yep. And Plague are also getting a ship, which reminds me of the Reavers. It's the version of the Corporation ship we'll talk about later,
which is a spikier Hornet.
It's cool.
It's not revered up, which I had.
It's pretty revered up. It's got some plates on it and spikes in places.
Yeah.
You could always rever it up more by putting dead bodies on the front and stuff.
I would if one of those did drop in my lap, I would.
Yeah.
And I would use it all the time because it's got the virtual takeoff.
Yeah, it's got 3 fans
and stuff.
There's obviously a troop compartment in the back there.
It has possibilities, and for the Plague, I think that's
cool. Yeah.
Cool because everyone's getting vehicles, because that's what Warpath's going to be, a bigger version of Deadzone, but just as a model, just to play. And we will be playing Warpath at least a couple times to try it out.
Oh yeah, we
got the models for it, so
we got to play with these toys. And they also getting a new hero named Subject 901, Escape Stage 2. So
I have not seen him yet.
He's a Stage 2 that escaped from some kind of
he's got the
facility.
He's got a helmet on and some fragments of clothing, and
it's cool to have a hero Stage 2, which is kind of neat.
That is kind of neat. And Simmons is a terrible-looking model and a terrible-looking...
And, well, so far useless in her
everything
abilities.
about her is no good. Him, I would field Subject 109, or 901. That is...
That's your dyslexia.
Yeah,
You never learned to read.
I never learned to read.
And below that, there was something called Plague Bursters. And they're pretty much just fat Plague.
And those are what I want.
They look disgusting. Look at the skin, how it's like
stretched over
and about to like burst open. It's If their sculpt gets this much detail, it'd be very cool.
And even they are. It looks like a morbidly obese stage 1, and if they're in around that size and they have that look, and because their function in that game, if it translates over to Deadzone, I would love to get my hands on 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah. And lastly, for the Plague is my favorite word to say, murder birds.
Murder birds.
So far they just have some sketches, but it looks like they're going to be like either crows or... Actually, they look more like vultures, but undead. Pretty much plagued out vultures. And who can't say they want some murder birds?
And I'm saying I want those for Kings of War.
Is there like something in Kings of War that would be equal to it? Like in your undead lists?
There certainly is.
Is there?
There certainly is.
For sure, they're cool.
I would want those.
Yep. And, we'll take another quick short break here. We'll get back to the rest of it, because there's still more to talk about.
Countercharge. Countercharge is the first podcast totally dedicated to the game Kings of War. Join your hosts Andrew, Mark, and Rob as they delve into the world of Mantica and bring you in-depth coverage of all things Kings of War. You can find us on iTunes and at ohiohammer.com, a proud member of the Ohio Hammer network of podcasts.
And now, back to your hosts, Rob Harper and Jack Pike.
And we're back. Let's get back into it. What more is there in the Kickstarter that we need to hear about?
My most excited thing, I think, that I'm most excited for, that's a bit redundant, but...
well, when you're excited, that's what you do. You just...
Yep. It's the corporation, the GCPS. And that's there's going to be new corporation troops, hard plastic. So you get 40 troops, 2 heavy weapon teams, which they haven't really described what those are going to be, but it looks like gunners on a base together. It just has a silhouette for them. So we'll see what those are.
It looks like a maybe a Stinger missile type battery or something, with something anti-armor, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, they probably have to do something a little bit more heavy hitting for them. You get 2 Striders, because Corporation's going to have their own cockpits for the Striders. A Mule Transport, which is their new vehicle, which is kind of like a warthog that's covered over from Halo. And a new character called Major Chard. Oh, she's the female. Maybe the other one's not female, because maybe the Enforcer one is male.
Well, we questioned your sexuality over nothing.
Could be. And then they also get the Hornet dropships, which we've already seen the Plague version, but this is the Corporation version. Much more clean and less tacked on stuff. And then, yes, there's Major Lauren Chard. She's a female. She's got a beret, which is cool. She looks like a female Flint from G.I. Joe.
That is actually...
She's like Flint and Lady J had a child.
Oh.
It is the future.
Well, there you go. Major Lauren Chard.
Yeah, it's cool. Corporations, I'm really excited about the Corporation. And then, yeah, the mules. You can get the mules separately, too. They're like pickup trucks, kind of, if you look at them. They got they look like a Jeep in a pickup truck, kind of.
They're the kind of the Humvee of the Deadzone world.
Yeah, I'm very excited about them. And the Corporation Marines themselves look like nowadays you see those concepts of special forces in the future.
Yeah.
Would mean like 5 years out. That's what these guys look like. The helmets with all the different sensors on them, and they're all in black.
They'll have the heads-up display and all of the it's just sci-fi enough, but not enforcers.
Yeah, that's right. And the next battle group is the Asterians. Once again, we have so many Asterians, we probably don't need more Asterians. But this comes with the new Asterian infantry, which are drones. They're like, instead of ciphers, which are controlled by each cipher as a single person, I think the drones are one person controls 5 ciphers, or 5 drones. So they're more like less
autonomous in per model, but more, say, like a...
You're just saying, okay, you go over there. Yeah. And then there's... you get 4 light drones, 2 sky razors, drones with shields, or the weapons, and the Kalishi, which are the hand-to-hand fighter guys. 15 ciphers, 1 overseer, and their captain, or whatever he is, he's called Tenurgo, and 2 black talons. And the new light drones are cool. They're like they look kind of like it's like the normal drone, but it's almost it's got 2 guns on it, and it looks like it's very cool. You'll see the picture. You can see them in there.
Oh yeah.
So they got like extra guns, and they look cool.
It looks like a regular drone and a Strider mated in a TARDIS.
You do like bringing up things.
Oh, I just went. That's just a callback, the TARDIS part. But the other 2 things are factual. It does look like one of the drones and a Strider mated.
And they also came up with a new vehicle for them called the Chira Transport, and they're cool looking. And then there's a tank version of it too, which has a big gun on top and different wing configurations in the back. It's very unique looking.
It's very Asterian looking. It's starting to get, like, they had their own aesthetic before. It's starting to get more and more outlandish. Like the parts that made it Asterian-y have become exaggerated even more as things have gone on. Now everything's got the swept wings, and everything's
curved.
Everything's getting
I like it.
Distilled into a more distinct look.
Yeah, I really like them. Yeah, and then Tenor Go looks like he's a black talon, but he's a leader version of it.
So he's got himself a
big
snazzy sword, and yeah.
He's cool looking. He's got a pistol. You gotta love pistols. Due to popular demand, they've also added the Mars Attacks groups as factions in this. So you get the Martian battle group, which comes with 20 Martians.
Which Community Pat at the time said, no, I don't think that's going to happen. And
but they sneak things in when people demand things.
But I think he was shouted down by the masses, and they said, we can't not. Much like when the Emperor is holding the fate of a gladiator in his hands, a downward thumb or an upward thumb, and he's pondering it, and the audience is going crazy.
Ronnie demanded, or the people demanded Ronnie to put Martians in. So.
Yes, so he had to let that gladiator live, and that gladiator has resulted in Martians.
So you get all the different types of Martians, plus the saucer. With the saucers are always fun. And they also offering the big stompy robots.
Big stompy robots.
They're pretty cool. And they also get the human faction from them. So you get the Marines and the Nova Corps, or Tiger Corps and Nova Vera, and the truck. So it's kind of cool. And the guy in the bug
The big flea.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's all the battle groups. And lastly, we have a picture of Blaine. There's no Kickstarter without Blaine in it. And this time it is...
Blaine in all his Blaney glory, doing Blaine things in a Blaney way.
It's because he's called Tyrant Blaine, and he's in stolen Peacekeeper armor.
Oh.
You check out the picture of him in his Peacekeeper armor looking tough. So I think this is the third or fourth Blaine in the Warpath universe.
We could do a Blaine anthology where we just look at Blaines throughout the...
He's got his big Peacekeeper armor on.
But he's got Peacekeeper armor plus some extras.
Plus a nice rifle.
Plus a nice rifle.
So there you go. That's all the different parts of the Kickstarter. And needless to say, we're getting a lot of it. And we're definitely going to get all the vehicles somehow. And we'll see from there what else we get.
Okay, yeah.
Because the vehicles are definitely what I'm most interested in.
And God help me, I want some of those murder birds, and I want those bursters, but also like some Veermyn. Don't they look just...
Yeah, Veermyn, cool.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of Veermyn.
We already have Infestation coming.
Yeah.
So for us, it might not be worth... not worth it, but it might not be what we
We're going to have so much already. It's like the Asterians. I definitely don't want more Asterians. We've just gotten rid of all the ones we just had to paint. So.
Yeah, we already have a lot of those. But yeah, Murder Birds and Bursters. Murder Birds and Bursters. That was the name of my progressive rock album in the 70s.
Nice.
Yeah, I had like a Geddy Lee thing going on. It was fantastic.
Awesome. And on that note...
Murder Birds and Bursters into the sky.
We'll be right back.
It is time for a brief message from our friends at Iron Watch Magazine.
Do you like Mantic games? Do you want to read about your favorite games in a monthly magazine? Have we got the offer for you? Iron Watch Magazine. Iron Watch brings you the latest news, articles, and short stories taking place in the Mantic universe. Dreadball, Kings of War, Deadzone, Warpath. You want it? They got it. Ironwatch.wordpress.com. Get it now for the low price of free. You can't beat that at twice the price. That's ironwatch.wordpress.com. Download now.
We now return to the Deadzone podcast. It is shout-outs time.
And we're back to do some shout-outs.
Shout-outs.
And our first shout-out, I believe our only shout-out, is to Jeremy Hicks. And we've heard from Jeremy before. And he said, love the podcast. I'd like to share my recently completed Plague and Enforcer strike teams. And he has another strike team he's working on. And he said the other strike team is inspired by a video game. And he says, any guesses what it could be? And he said, happy gaming. So we got some Plague, which are pretty classic Plague.
Classic Mantic Plague with the pinkish skin with the bonish armor on the outside. But yeah, based very nicely. Grays and you know just enough basing to make it stand out, but not enough.
Yeah, you don't want too much for Deadzone.
It's not going to be crazy. And then we're looking at Enforcers again, very close to the Mantic.
He kept it close to the box, and then his third group though it looks to me he's going for some Halo there. What do you think? They got the Spartan look to their helmets.
I've never played Halo, and
You never played Halo?
No, you know what my Halo reference is there was something called Red and Blue that I saw.
Red versus Blue, yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, whatever it was, and that's all I know about Halo.
Well, I think he's going for a Halo vibe there. If we're wrong, let us know, Jeremy, but they look Halo to me.
Halo-y?
As much as we know about video games. Modern video games.
Yes, if you want to hear our best video games ever, you can listen to our podcast, Villain Old Time Radio, Favorite 5, which we list our favorite 5 things.
Yep. And it's definitely not in any of the video games, would not be recent.
No. Where would you just find Halo heads, though, to perch on those?
Oh, you can buy them. They're definitely... different companies make heads. Secret Weapon makes a lot of different things. I know there's one that just makes for orcs. They just do different orcs things. And yes, there's because of 40K, you get people wanting to switch up their Space Marines or do some interesting stuff. So there's all these little satellite companies making accoutrement.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, Jeremy Hicks, for sharing that with us. We love to get any fan interaction, especially stuff that you want to share your pictures with.
And mods, I love mods.
And mods especially, yes. Thank you for sharing.
So please do send any pictures you have. Hit us up on Twitter. We're at Deadzone Podcast. Or you can go to our email. It's deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. And send us pictures of what you're working on.
No dick pics, though, please.
Yes, please. And, also go to cafepress.ca/Deadzone Podcast. Buy a shirt. We love you. And...
A shirt? Why would you just stop and buy a shirt?
Because I don't want to be much of a whore.
But the mugs are very nice.
The mugs are nice. Actually, I have a Veermyn Old Time Radio tumbler. I would like maybe a Deadzone tumbler.
A Deadzone tumbler. Well, a little bit of whiskey there, so a couple of chunks of ice.
Okay, we gotta get going because I want to drink. And fallinfantry.wordpress.com. It's because I unbox things because I buy too much things, and you can see them there.
You have a urge to share, and you need fan interaction, and you love the spotlight, and that is your way of saying, Jack, you're holding me down, you're keeping me back from the adulation that I deserve, and I will get it one way or another. And I say good on you. I repair my shed and do chores.
Sucker. And on that, we will say goodbye.
On that bombshell,
I'm Rob.
And I'm Jack.
And this has been Deadzone the Podcast. Come back next month where we'll have the beta, won't we, Mantic? You're going to send us the beta.
Come on. What? By this point, there's no security breach.
Actually, by this point, everybody probably has the beta, so ignore our ramblings.
And if we did, between the last podcast and this one,
if
we did receive a...
We're sorry.
We apologize, and, we
will be sending your puppy back in one piece.
We will make amends on the next podcast.
Bye-bye.
Adieu, adieu.
Thank you for listening to the Deadzone Podcast. I have been your announcer, William Randolph Wintergreen. Visit the website, deadzonegame.podbean.com. Email your hosts at deadzonepodcast@gmail.com. On Twitter, you can follow the show at Deadzone Podcast. The Deadzone Podcast is a production of Vinland Old Time Radio Productions. You have been listening to the Deadzone Podcast. And now, a word from the fine folks at Vinland Old Time Radio.
Vinland Old Time Radio. It is to laugh.
Bastrow! Ahoy there, Dirigible. Help a fellow imparts note with you.
It's a gavel, a haunted gavel.
Have you read The King in Yellow?
Hello, William.
I made the koala burgers.
So what's new?
Are you insane?
That better be a rhetorical question. And yes.
Tula.
I once knew a Spaniard in Tarragona who spoke in gibberish like you.
Up, and escape!
That was terrible.
I should be a god, and instead I'm stuck down here like a worm.
She would tell me such wonderful stories.
Dr. Deja Vu will return.
Africa's a continent?
It's with great protest.
Ooh, now that's some fine programming. VinlandOldTimeRadio.podbean.com